Welcome to Seniorship, where we discuss in a podcast various aspects of aging, of retirement, of reinvention. Today's guest is Phil Smith, someone I'd never met before, in fact, I'd never spoken to before, but he's a friend of one of my colleagues here in the Seniorship team, Paul Godwin. Phil, like me, is an ex-rugby player. But unlike me, he carried on being involved in the game after he retired from playing by becoming a coach. And as a result, he learned something which I found a very interesting insight for our purposes. And so I think I hope that you will find this conversation very interesting. Let's see what Phil has to say. And welcome once more to the Seniorship Podcast. And Mr. Phil Smith has entered the waiting room, and I have admitted him. So by the grace of God, we'll be speaking very soon. Good morning, Phil. How are you doing?
Good morning, Michael. I'm very well. I'm glad you've managed to work out technology because I was completely lost and reliant totally on you.
It's bizarre because I've done about it. We're fairly new at this, as our mutual friend Paul Godwin will have told you, but I've recorded about a dozen of these interviews now, and I've got 3 other podcasts, and that never happened to me before. But the test is how you manage it when things go wrong. So yeah, it works okay.
There we go.
Listen, we have, I was about to say, and I will say it again, we have one thing in common to start with, Phil, because you're a rugby man. Paul is a rugby man, and the reason I know Paul is through a mutual friend called Tim Arnold. He's a rugby man too, and so yeah, we're all rugby fans. So we have a starting point.
Good.
Yeah. So, good. But I tell you what, we won't discuss the makeup of the new Lions touring party because that could keep us all day, basically. Couldn't it?
Could. Very easily. Very easily.
Very easily. Yeah. So what I'd like to do is this. We'll speak for about 30, 40 minutes max, because we're cheapskates here. So we have the free version of Zoom, which means you're limited to 40 minutes. And you said you use this rarely, Zoom, and you're a lucky man because it can be a pain. When it's working, it's brilliant, and it is recording, so that's good. So what will happen is when we finish talking, I'll send you the recording, and if you're happy with what you said, then we publish it. But when it gets to nearly 40 minutes, Zoom will cut you off mercilessly. So therefore, I will say, we got 5 minutes left, whatever. Phil, we like to start with a couple of questions. And I got the idea of this, I have to say, from our mutual friend Paul, because he said, he loved a podcast with Giles Brandreth. Now, someone I hardly knew anything about, but I've listened to a couple of his podcasts. And what is good is his podcast is nothing like us. He talks to people about their lives up to now rather than what they're thinking about in the future. So in that way, it's different. But he always starts with the same questions. He's got standardized questions. And Paul thought, what a good idea. So Paul suggested some questions, which I'm going to fire at you, which is, first of all, it's all about words, isn't it? It's not all about words, but words are important. And we call this podcast Seniorship, and almost as if to say that being a senior is something that one might aspire to. Well, it's going to happen anyway, so you might as well aspire to it and adjust to it. Also, from my point of view, what I like about it is the word senior is one I don't object to. I hate being called old. I hate being called an old age pensioner. I hate that. I hate being called elderly, but senior. Ever since I was in the States once, and I saw a bloke wearing a T-shirt, and it said, "I'm a senior. Give me my damn discount." And I thought, yes, I like that attitude. So anyway, that's what we call ourselves, seniorship. So here's up. The first question is this seniorship word. When do you think that age might start? At what age?
I don't know. I think it's a very individual thing. I certainly didn't. What am I now? 71. I didn't see myself certainly as a senior in 5 years ago, in March the 23rd. I was very much not a senior, even though I was just about to hit 66. I didn't, because I was still working, and I was working in a primary school teaching PE. I still felt almost as childish as the children. So I think when we came out of the whole pandemic, possibly I started to inch towards seniorship. And I think probably last year, turning 70, and the bones started creaking a bit more, I will accept the word senior. I mean, I regularly call myself an old git, and I'm just I'm just an old git, but I don't have any problem saying old at that point. But I would like you. I like the word senior, and I would consider myself as a senior now.
Good.
But yeah, I would have said turning 70 was a sort of a point in time.
Thank you. And by the way, I don't know if you were supposed to tell me this, but apparently by some of the people you coach rugby, you were called Captain Mannering. Is that right?
I was, and you might, and you might have guessed. You might easily guess who a certain other person is or was named after.
Indeed, and well,
because he's always doomed. So
yes. Exactly. Yeah. Good. Well, thank you. So senior is okay word for you now, and so that's one thing about us as a nation, is it not, that we don't mind taking the mickey out of ourselves?
No, not at all.
With descriptions like that, and saying I'm an old bugger or whatever it is, that's great. Yeah. Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Well, and Paul is a bit younger than you, and certainly a lot younger than me. I'm 81. He's, I think, 62, the young whippersnapper.
I think it's 62 this year, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Now, this is 3 questions that Paul came up with, and I like them all. This one is a bit odd. Not odd, challenging. What made you realize you were in a different stage of life? And you mentioned bones creaking. Anything else?
I don't think so. To me, life has just sort of drifted through, and you just move gradually through each decade, and little things change. Different things present themselves. Some are challenging, some are pleasant. But I don't think it sort of creeps up on you. I think it's just life progresses, and you've just got to accept it. And the thought of trying to hold back advancing age I just don't see the point of it. I'm proud of my white hair. I'm proud of the fact that I'm getting shorter. I was short enough as it was.
Yes.
And it appears I'm getting shorter now. But that's just, sadly, that's the genes I was born with. And I have to carry it through. And if I creak along a bit more, so be it. But if I can keep it, if I can keep it at bay by regular exercise and just having a young attitude, I've always sworn that my age is really 29, and I'm just showing the signs of looking more. I did advance that. I started out at 21, and then 12, 13 years ago, I had a stent put in, and I admitted to the fact that I was then 29. But apart from that.
Excellent. I'm glad you mentioned that word attitude, because, well, we'll come on to that. I think that's a major factor. And what you said about the stent too, yeah. I mean, I live in a retirement village, actually, Phil, and I never thought I would, but I ended up here by a succession of circumstances, and I love it. And what I can see from being surrounded with about 120 other people, a few younger than me, I'm about the median age, I would guess, really. Some in their 90s. I mean, I have a friend here who's, I'd say, about 93, plays tennis 2 or 3 times a week at a decent level. And that's amazing. But the thing in common with the people that I engage with most here is attitude.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if you have that attitude, if you say you're going to be old, you think to yourself you're going to be old, you will be. And
Yes.
you'll have all the grunt. Yes, we can be grumpy. I think we've earned the right for that, but uh, grumpy on our own terms. But if you are going to just have this attitude of, well, I can't do this or I can't do that, I shouldn't be doing this at my age. Well, why not? you know, so it's an attitude. And if you've got a young attitude, um, I think that's the way to be.
Good. I'm
If you want to
glad.
be disreputable as well, throw that in. I mean, it adds to the mix.
I love it. And now this is the last question. Other ones will occur to me, no doubt. But here's the last of Paul's three questions. Do the things that spark you or make you happy or content differ from those you had earlier? For example, at 25 or even 50, do they differ very much, do you think, to make you happy?
Well, there's a problem with 25 is I can't remember. Uh,
Okay, you and me both.
55. I think I go back to my point about just drifting through and its stages in life. So I don't want to go back to being 25, mainly because you look at the world today, and I just wouldn't want to be 25 right now. I'm quite content being the age that I am. But and then there are other times when you go back and think, wouldn't be bad being 25 again. I could go and see this band, or I could go and see that band, or I could go watch. Imagine I could just go and watch the 1981 Test match all over again
Yes.
because I missed it because I was abroad. So there are bits like that come back. 55. I think I've got younger since then. I think I was a bit of a grumpy old git at 55. I didn't know what I was doing. Whereas since then, things changed far more for the positive than the negative. And so I've been a lot more content since then.
Good word, content, by the way. And by the way, picking up on something you said, primary school teaching has been part of
Yes.
your career, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, it was as an invited sports coach to teach in school at primary age level. I got no teaching qualification, but I was using years of coaching experience to take out onto the playing field rather than in the classroom. Yeah, and that also kept me young.
Oh, absolutely. Kept you young. Yes. We had a bunch of primary school kids come in here yesterday because it was VE Day, and so
Oh yes,
we had several VE kind of events happening here, and one of them was that a chap I know who is a peripatetic music teacher said, "Oh, would you like me to bring in a bunch of my kids to perform a few songs for you?" And so that's what we did, and it was a breath of fresh air. It
yeah,
absolutely was, and it
absolutely,
keeps you young.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I'm a school governess, and which I did 20 plus years ago for 10 years, and then stopped, and then because I was working in school, so I was actually seeing what was going on, and then 3 years ago, because I'd retired, through local voluntary organised local council posting posts for looking for volunteers for various things, and one came up for a primary school governorship, and I've absolutely enjoyed it. It's been tremendous, and both visiting the school, obviously doing the official governorship side of things, but a week today I'm assisting the PE lead, taking some children to a football tournament, because they know that I enjoy doing that sort of thing, and I'm quite happy doing it. And I do it, and I love it. It's just great. it's just again, those children just balance out life for you. I think it's true. I just love it. It's just great fun.
Well, you saying I just love it and it's great fun. That's interesting because when this happened yesterday and these kids came along here and we said, "Would you like to come back?" Yeah, and they were terrific. And you said, people know that I enjoy and I love it. That was exactly the same with this guy who brought the kids here. That he went the extra mile. All the stuff he was doing with them to keep them occupied before they performed and after they performed. I thought, wow. Because teachers get I still remember Jeremy Hardy saying teachers get a bad rap. Or they very often get a bad rap, he said, but teaching is a branch of the performing arts, and a day in front of 30 kids is a long gig. but long gig or not, the fact is, from this guy yesterday, and I can see from you too, that that's an activity that really engages you and has done for a long time.
Yeah, I would encourage anybody who's retired to get involved in whatever. The only thing I would possibly say is try not to get involved in what you've spent your life doing. I didn't spend my life teaching. That came in the last few years, and therefore continuing was fine. But yeah, I would find something else. It's very easy to get drawn into what you did before, and maybe that's not what you really need. But hey, it's down to the individual.
Anyway, so I'd say you've learned a lot already, actually, about the things that keep you young and
Yep.
engaged and
Mhm.
happy and fulfilled. Could you, I know it's a tough ask this, but I bet you could do it. Could you sum up what you think are the most important things? Let's say the key predictors of what will be for you a happy and fulfilled older life.
Staying healthy, um, being mobile. But if that doesn't happen, then finding a way to make it seem as though you're being mobile and active, and it's the positive attitude. Look upon it as each day is just, that's it. We've got a basket. We've done another 24 hours, and I'm still here. And what's up for today? And just keep doing things, and different things turn up. Don't sit back and do nothing. I think that's the worst thing that anyone can do. And even if something, an illness or something physical comes along and just puts a stop on things for the moment, just take the attitude, well, I will get back to doing it, or I'll find something else that will push me along. If I can't do this, I'm in that situation at the moment. I can't do certain sports that I enjoy doing because I just have a knee injury. But there are other things that I can do, and so that's the way I've got to look upon it. And I will admit that in the last 3 or 4 months, I've become a bit lazier because I've put the blame on this knee injury, and I should really stop thinking that and get on and do things. But hey, I've got other things that I'm doing as well, which keep me pinned to a desk. But then that's equally good, because that's keeping the brain active, and making you
Yes.
think and stuff. So I think it's just the right attitude, and it's that positive attitude just to say, I am capable of doing things. My body is letting me do these things, so can keep doing it. And if one day it just shuts down, well, it shuts down. Nothing much I can do about it.
No, but I think in your case, that's going to be quite a long way off, Phil.
Well, I hope so. I hope so.
We all do. I mentioned to you at the start of the interview about that I was listening to this podcast with Giles Brandreth, and I was, and his interviewee was Tim Rice,
All
and
right.
Tim Rice. Well, obviously he loves cricket, doesn't he? He
He
loves,
does.
among all, with all his achievements on the music front, he loves cricket almost above anything else in the world. And I think he now is or was the president of the MCC.
He was. He's a former president of the MCC. Yeah.
Well, he said at one point, and I think he said more than once, he never had a plan. He kind of, he was talking about all he knew was he didn't want to go to university. He didn't have a plan, and things happened. And I thought, wow, that's a very interesting attitude from a guy that's achieved so much.
Well, interestingly, my wife went to see him at the London Palladium
Yeah,
last week
yeah.
because I think he's celebrating 60 years in the music business.
60. Oh, wow. Yeah.
And she found it absolutely fascinating, and it was. He got into the music industry, didn't get, as you say, didn't go to university, and she said it was just his life, and where it took him is an incredible voyage. She said it was just totally brilliant to listen to how he's gone about doing it and how it all occurred, but without giving too much away, because you should go and see him.
Thank you. And you know what? I will, because what came across also was very self-deprecating bloke for a guy that's achieved what he's achieved. Public school educated, but he doesn't make a thing of that. Well, let's put it like this. I would say he's a guy who could mix with anyone.
Oh, yes. Yeah. He went to a sister school of mine. Old school.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Because you went to Reigate, was it?
Well, I'm living in Reigate now, but yeah, he went to the one on the coast, and I went the one just up the road.
He went to Lancing, didn't he?
He went to Lancing, yes.
Yes. Okay.
So yeah. Anyway, that's by the by.
Yes, by the by. But I love the fact, A, he didn't have a plan. B, the self-deprecation. Of course, in that way, he's typically British in that way, isn't he? Really?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, absolutely. Very witty. And no, I'm only halfway through the interview. I'm going to listen to it all. I recommend it, Giles. And the podcast is called Rosebud. And right. if you're a film buff, you'll know why it's called Rosebud. Anyway,
I'm not particularly.
Okay. I think it's a nod to Citizen Kane, but that movie is even older than me, so it's certainly a lot older than you, Phil.
I have seen it on a couple of occasions.
Yes, exactly.
It's one of the all-time greats.
It absolutely, yeah. Now, attitude important. Health, you said, very important. I don't know if you knew this, but somebody told me about this so-called blue zones theory, whereby, well, not a theory, but it's just a fact that there are certain spots on the planet where people tend to live longer and healthier than in most other parts of the planet. And they've done big surveys to find out what are the predictors of that situation happening. And they found that even above exercise, diet, smoking, alcohol, all that sort of thing, social contact apparently was a bigger predictor. And
really?
And I wonder what you felt about that.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. If you tuck yourself away and don't speak to anybody, you're just going to shrivel up and disappear, and people will forget you. And sadly, in the last 5 years, we've seen that happen time and time again in a situation that was beyond many people's control. But I think somewhere in those last few working years, instead of just being tossed out and that's it, you've retired, off you go and good luck and everything else, that I know companies now do pension planning and what you can do with your pension. I don't think they're too hot on what do you do next. I don't know. I never got that, but then I was self-employed for 30 plus years. So it really was down to me. But of course, I suddenly found myself in a situation where I was exercising, where I was socializing in schools with young people as well as young teachers. I mean, not all the teachers were over 60. A lot of them were 20s and 30s. and that kind of social interaction was superb. And I think I realised that in order for that to continue, you've got to carry on. You retire, but you've got to carry on doing that. And funnily enough, that's what the sports activities that I've got into since have provided. And I suppose, yes, if you're a member of a club, whatever type of club it is, don't just walk away from it thinking, well, it's not nothing to offer me because it's aimed at, a sporting club is aimed at sporting people. And that doesn't happen anymore, that sports people stop. The introduction of these various walking sports have provided the perfect reason for people to carry on. And if there was a law to be passed, if you wanted to be a bit sort of dictatorial, the law should be, if you retire, you've got to do at least, same as in schools, 2 hours of PE every week.
Yeah.
Everyone should be doing it, whether it's a yoga class or something far more active. Everybody should be, and even if there is some form of debility that is reducing what you can do, will do what you can do, but still do it, because it'll make it makes your mind feel a lot fresher, a lot better.
Good.
And even if, right down to, stupid things, I do it every day on this laptop, is I play various games of solitaire, and it takes me about 20 minutes, but brain's working.
Yes.
And just doing that is useful. And then you can go off and do something else.
Exactly.
But activity is so important.
Activity of all kinds. And I'm glad you mentioned walking sports because, because Paul, our mutual friend Paul, certainly mentioned that to me, that you got involved in that. So which sports do you play on a walking basis?
So I play 2 walking sports. I play walking rugby and I play walking cricket, both of which really followed in the footsteps of the walking football. Was the first one that started, and that is incredibly popular now. But other walking sports are catching up. The great thing is that constituent bodies, like for rugby and for cricket, so county cricket sides and other counties, and in rugby, the RFU, the WRFU, the Scottish FU, they are all very supportive of these sports and put laws and ideas in out there, and they back up all these sports. I also know that there is walking netball, there's walking basketball.
Wow.
The only one they don't do is walking golf. But that's the one that I think that they should turn that one into, for the older athletic ones. They should make them run. Just to might speed up a round as well. But but apart from that, these walking sports are and they're great social occasions, and that's probably the biggest thing of all. And if anybody is interested, they can find forums and the like on Facebook and other social media. And I would have said in the last 5 years, from, I don't know, 25, 30 clubs, you're now looking at in excess of 200 rugby clubs now running their own walking rugby section.
Wow.
Cricket is not as quick, but it is coming along. It's coming along really well. Again, cricket is very much it's all year round. That's the beauty of all of these.
Yes.
Is they're all year round, because you can move them. Well, rugby is just you play in whatever weather. And from a cricket point of view, you can play indoors or outdoors. The game has been developed in such a way it can be indoors or outdoors.
I must check this out. Thank you for mentioning this, because mentioning it with such enthusiasm too, so I can tell that's something that you really like. I've never tried walking rugby, but I did once throw walking football. I was living in Bristol, where there were leagues walking, as you said,
Yeah,
walking football,
yeah.
incredibly popular. There were walking football leagues. I thought I'm going to do this because hardly ever played football in my life. I played rugby from about the age of 9, sort of thing. So I thought I'm going to try football. And I pulled a muscle in my groin in the first 5 minutes. It was embarrassing. I didn't realise that
No,
before
the
kicking.
beauty,
Yeah, yeah.
but the beauty is you'd have been amongst 3 or 4 others who probably did exactly the same thing, or something else went. I've done. I've discovered muscles I never knew I had. I mean, a hamstring. What's a hamstring? Well, get to 70 and you'll find out very quickly. um, I mean, but for all of that, I mean, we ache and groan our way through, but we have great social interaction.
Yes.
Um, and you meet a whole bunch of friends. And the great thing is that I mean, going back to Bristol, I mean, that's centre of walking rugby.
Is it?
Um,
Oh, I didn't realise
it
that.
really, I mean, driven by Bristol Bears, and their work in the community has been fantastic, and it's kind of spread from there. And of course, not only did it hit England, but it crossed the Severn and went into Wales very quickly.
Oh,
You know, they're producing some very good walking rugby players, and I won't,
well.
and I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to.
I wish you would leave it at that because I'm half Welsh myself, Phil, and it's all. So therefore, that's why I don't discuss rugby very much at the moment. But and I'm glad you mentioned Bristol Bears because yes, a very good friend of mine is a season ticket holder there. I'm going to find out more about that from him. But moving back
Yep.
to something you talked about before, which is um, what I suppose I would call cross generation. No, I won't call it cross generational socializing because that sounds a bit BS. But the contact with younger people, that sounds to me something I haven't really thought enough about actually, a way of keeping you young. Yeah, because
Um,
you're engaging with younger people, aren't you?
yes, I mean it
Coaching or
can be.
whatever.
Well, yes, I mean, you know, as a school governor, you meet the children because part of your observation is to occasionally sit down with a few children and talk to them, and you get an idea of what they're after. But you can observe children. You watch them um, in their workplace. But aside from that, even certainly through the rugby club, um, I still maintain contact with young people through going down there on a regular basis and watching the juniors or watching even the seniors playing. I mean, I'm watching players today that I introduced to the game 20 years ago,
Yeah.
when they were 6, 7 years old, and I see them now. That's diminishing because that period is, you know, I stopped doing that kind of stuff back in 2016. But I see, you know, and I see these young players coming through. I see it in other clubs, which with things that I helped to set up, and I see how other clubs have progressed um, because of what myself and 3 other guys set up in, well, nearly 20 years ago, um, that still exists today and provides um, a link to getting senior teenagers continuing into a sporting life in their 20s and 30s. Because that's one of the to me, one of the most dangerous areas, and this unhealthy living life that we apparently lead, is that a lot of teenagers at 16, 17, 18 drop out of an active life too easily. And because not enough time is spent getting people to encourage these people to carry on. Don't go away and just stop. I know there's lots of gyms out there and people love to go down to the gym and do that. I suppose it's
Mm.
exercise.
Yeah, yeah.
It's good for the body, but is it good for the mind? I don't know. There's no real social interaction.
No.
Um, you know, whereas if you go to a football club, you name any sporting venue, after you've played, you socialise. Some clubs more than others. I mean, rugby notoriously socialises.
Yeah.
And even, us at the Walking Rugby, one of the things we do is we socialise for the same amount of time and more after we've played than we have when we've been playing. We'll play for an hour to an hour and a half.
Yes.
And we'll probably be in the bar drinking tea and coffee, naturally.
Of course, Phil.
For at least another hour and a half.
Good.
And we'll have social occasions. And it's good one. Two other sports that are very interesting, which I started doing, which are partly to blame for my injury. But are these new variations on tennis, this paddle.
Paddle and pickleball.
And pickleball. They are fantastic. And again, doesn't matter how old you are. Pickleball, I think, is the easier of the two for senior citizens, but they are two fantastic sports.
Thank you. That's
so if you think you can't manage round a tennis court anymore, try a pickleball court. It's much smaller. It's only a badminton court size, but it's great fun and it's good. It's another social event.
Thank you. That's good. That's good advice, because I'm thinking about that. We got pickleball not far from where I live. Thank you. I'm going to look into that. I reckon.
I'd get one in a residential village. Get them to build one.
Good point, actually.
I bet you've got far too much garden space.
Well,
full of lawns and plants and everything else. Do you need that? No, you need a pickleball court.
No, we've got more garden space than I would like, but of course a lot of the people here do like gardening, you see. And so anyway, listen, we need to wrap it up in a minute or so, Phil. But if I think of the key things I'm learning from you, it's attitude, it's being active, staying active in whatever, physical, mental, etc., etc. It's keeping social, social contact with other people, and staying young by being able to be in touch with younger people as well as old buggers like us.
Yeah, absolutely. Funnily enough, young people will talk to you.
Who knew that?
Yes, sometimes they look at us and wonder, what on earth are you still doing here? Well, we do that. I mean, with all the regulations around nowadays, we've got no idea why we're still here.
We've got no idea why we're here, indeed. Thank you. Yeah. So really, to summarize this conversation is we got no idea, and that's how we started out anyway.
Exactly.
Phil Smith,
we did.
It's been a great pleasure to talk to you, and
it's been a pleasure.
I hope we will talk again.
Yes, I hope so too, and I'm looking forward to hearing Paul's conversation as well.
Great. Okay.
As I understand it, I did suggest somebody else to him who would be very good. Problem is, this is not for broadcasting. This bit. Problem is, he's Scottish, and therefore it's understanding him. But no, he's a lovely bloke. He is, and he would. I mean, he is the definition of positive attitude. He suffers from Parkinson's. He is a major driver behind fundraising for Parkinson's. But he is, and his attitude. He was diagnosed 7-8 years ago. His attitude to life is inspirational. It inspires me.
Thank you.
And he's only 65.
So this is interesting because you're talking about somebody who inspires you. I reckon you inspire a lot of younger people with all your coaching activity, Phil. So I tell you what, we're going to wrap it up because otherwise Mr. Zoom will cut us off at the knees. But it's been a pleasure, and I will talk to you again. That's for sure.
Yes, Michael, definitely. I would look forward to it.
Thanks for your time.
So you will send this through to me.
I will indeed.
A link.
I will indeed.
Okay. I will have a listen to myself and probably get really embarrassed and say, you really want to listen to this.
Phil Smith, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Great pleasure.
Bye
Thanks
now.
then. Bye.